Hello, everyone. Welcome out to the Cars, Bars, and Guitars podcast, episode number 53. I'm AJ.
And I'm Steve.
Steve, who are we brought to you today by?
Getting a box of chicken nuggets and eating it by the time you pass another McDonald's. All while driving through a winter wonderland. Way less cute than the song Walking in a Winter Wonderland.
Very true. And
It's our one major snow event of the year. Could it please be over already?
we have done podcasts in the sun, in extreme heat, extreme cold, in pouring down rain, a hurricane, tornadoes, and now a snowstorm. So at least we have all... Well, no, I guess we got earthquake to go. But that's not really a weather event.
That's going to be a West Coast type thing. Yeah, it's a natural occurrence, but incredibly unlikely on this coast.
Yeah. Well, Steve, what are we going to be drinking today?
Oh my, where do I start?
Well, we could go over this and this as we go.
Okay.
And then what we're drinking now.
All right, so we're kicking off the show with Jameson Cold Brew and an O'Shea's Irish Red Ale, because St. Patrick's Day is a month away, so Aldi's already getting their Irish on, so we can too.
I didn't get this until 4:45 today, because I was like, you know what? I forgot to look the ABC store, because I went to the one in Matthews and got this, and then they didn't have this. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna drive up there and see if they have it.
And
they have it.
And the other this is Badenjager.
Yes.
A honey liqueur, which we'll be discussing later.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I've never had the Jameson cold brew. So.
Me neither, but it smells delicious.
Yes, it does. That tastes like coffee.
I like that.
That's really good. I think it would really be.
Mine broke.
Oh, well, we have the technology to get you more.
Yay.
Let me try the Shoshays. The Shoshays?
Shoshays? Yeah.
That's a red. Yay. That's a red. It's good, though. Craft brewed in Ireland. This place has to be really old, I would think.
Mayhaps. Yeah, there's also an Irish stout, but I didn't enjoy that as much, so I wasn't about to buy that one again, but figured I'd give this one a shot, and glad I did.
Nice.
And the other beer from the Rowdy Aldi is the Hopping Nomad.
Ooh.
The Session IPA. And I bought the last remaining 3 boxes there yesterday.
How many are in a box?
6. It's
$7
for a 6-pack.
Okay, and if you just said, a baker's gross.
Yeah, it's this isn't Costco.
Is that a term?
It's a 24-pack.
Is that a term? Is a baker's gross? Because a baker's dozen's 144. A baker's gross would be 169, right?
Nice. Plus 100.
How about we do a 68 and I owe you one?
Check back in 15 episodes.
Yeah. Oh, we ought to do something special for that. We still need to do one on location.
The all Bryan Adams episode.
Dun, dun. Name another Bryan Adams song besides that one, and the only thing that looks good on me is you. That's like the worst pickup line.
Everything I do it for you.
Yes, that too. Remember, have you seen Stewie's video to that on Family Guy? It is hilarious. Well, I just got back from Vegas Sunday.
What happens in Vegas lives on this podcast.
It does. So we started out, Karin landed before everybody else, and then I landed, and then we went to the hotel and allegedly went to a dispensary. Now, the inside of the dispensary looks like an Apple store without the pretentious assholes. Everything's very shiny, very clean, very modern, and it's weird. It looks like a doctor's office when you go to waiting. They have a waiting room, and then when they call your name, they take you back. So they take you back to the room. They're like, what are you looking for? What kind of...
Are they playing Fugazi?
Maybe.
It's like the Bulldog Front are the only Fugazi songs I can think off the top of my head. I like Minor Threat better.
Thankfully, they're not playing Fish. So.
I had a truck today that had the Grateful Dead station on. Because that's what you expect when you're driving a Ram 2500.
That's an What?
Uh-huh.
Was it Tesla battery swapped? You'd probably need 2 of the drivetrains to move that big fucking thing. Although the Teslas are heavy too.
Because batteries are heavy.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out like that. Mr. Matt Kramer was supposed to be our guest today and had to go out of town somewhere, and I don't know where.
Yeah, we could have done this yesterday, except my house is falling apart. So the faucet in the kitchen sink was leaking. The drain out of the washing machine is leaking, and the roof over the garage is leaking. So all that was being investigated yesterday, and some being worked on today. So a little bit of all hell was breaking loose at the vinyl cabin.
Well, hopefully, what'd you sign? Another 18-month?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah. Hopefully by then we can figure out something to get out of it. It's like we like the house, except it is a complete piece of shit.
Maybe that was why it was listed for rent and not for sale. Because the impending inspection would have released all the gremlins and goblins and all that good stuff. So
yeah, still dealing with leaky windows, very drafty, light switches that don't do anything, a burned out light fixture where a ceiling fan had been, but nobody's bothering to install another ceiling fan 20 feet up.
No.
It's on that angled part of the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Forget it. Yeah, it's like, that's one of my fears of heights. Tall places and neighborhoods named Heights.
Wuthering Heights. Isn't there a show? There was a show back in the early 90s, and I think it was called The Heights. And it was like, I think it was like one of those shows like 30-something or 21 Jump Street. Not the movie, but like it was like
there was
a young
TV
adult
show.
drama. It was completely different than the movie, though, wasn't it?
21 Jump Street was the same premise that undercover cops are infiltrating drugs in high school only 25 years before.
Okay.
And Johnny Depp was in both.
Johnny Depp was in the second one, too?
He was in the movie.
No shit. I didn't know that. Well, Emily, do you want to put a towel over your windshield? Let me know so I can close the garage door. Well, I'm busy, but...
I use a tiny grocery bag over mine, so at least it'll be able to have some window of being able to look at... Yeah, so your Jeep is very snowed over right now, by the way.
Oh, I figured so, but it'll be... I'll just get up early and just scrape it off.
Or just sweep it off now would be easier before it freezes. Or, right after this.
Right after this. I can get that done. It's not going to freeze in 2 hours.
Or if you have rub alcohol, that works wonders.
True. I also have a bunch of Rain-X spray. Spray the windshield down, not wipe it off. And it should just slide right down all night. Theoretically. I've never tried it before, so I'm willing to try it.
Sure. Typically used to Rain-X being the thing that you put on a newly cleaned windshield instead of putting a fresh coat of wax over a snowed-over windshield. Whatever works.
No, I meant scrape the snow off and then spray the Rain-X on the window.
Oh, yeah. You might want it to be totally dry as you're Rain-Xing it, though.
Don't kill my dreams.
Just trying to make them less a nightmare.
True. But after dispensary, went back to the hotel. Or not actually, we had to wait for everybody to get there. Went to hotel, took nap. Experienced Vegas, blah, blah, blah. Lost $400, gained $400. Lost $400 in the slot machine, gained $500. So came out $150 ahead. So that's about all you can ask for on Vegas trips. We ate, we had drank, we were merry, went to the Mob Museum. A lot of cool stuff. Fremont Street is where it's at. That was a blast. You didn't go when you went, did you?
No.
The old part?
Just all on the strip.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Could would have should have gotten to this, but A, couldn't quite afford it, and 2, I'm still trying to hammer out the job transition. So that should be effective turn of the month.
Oh, cool. All right,
and basically reducing print shop to very limited hours while they're trying to get my replacement trains, since otherwise they're going to be completely fucked.
I can't believe you said yes to that. You're just too nice.
If they keep paying me, I guess I'll keep showing up a little bit.
It pays well. It's more consistent than the valet gig. Like what you're going to bring home when you work 8 hours.
Yeah, at least there it's indoors.
That's
like,
true.
Today was not a good valet day, except that was a very hard fought $120.
Did you? How many days a week are you going to work at print?
4.
And it's still going to be third.
It'd be like half shift.
Okay, so it'll
Yeah,
be,
not doing the entirety of it. That would be
God
a
damn.
swift death.
Yeah, I did know a guy who had two full-time 40-hour-a-week jobs. What he did was worked his day job from 6:30 to 3, and then drove to Food Line as grocery manager, and worked from 4 to 11. Yeah.
Were any of these a half-hour commute?
He went straight from job to job, so I think it was like right at 20 or 30 minutes between each. So, yeah. I mean, he said he had to, and I didn't ask why, and he never told me. And he looked like Urkel. His name was Darnell, and he looked just like Urkel.
Ron Jaleel White.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, he was the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog in the cartoons.
That's actually right.
And apparently the movie doesn't suck.
Interesting. I feel like your microphone keeps creeping downwards. Is it about the same position as it was?
I can't get any lower. Still, I feel I'm sinking. I'm really not paying attention to this. Like it's still here in front of me. It's still picking me up. I'm trying to stay awake. Don't mind me.
we have more Jameson.
Uh-huh.
So if you want more, feel free to have more.
It's extra caffeinated. Then they pop another jet alert.
Well, I'd probably go easy on the... I've never actually taken a caffeine pill. But allegedly, though, remember I told you, I guess a couple episodes back, that edibles don't do anything for me?
My experience with them allegedly was I was paralyzed at a beach house after having had a cookie.
How many milligrams? All right, these were only...
It was whatever was in the special butter.
These were in like 10 or 15 milligrams. All it did was allegedly make me really dizzy.
Figure if you're in an area where it's legal, you don't have to allege too much.
Well, they do still drug test at work every now and then, just not very regularly. So, but it just made me really dizzy. The pineapple upside down cake blunt, though, the pre-roll, that was magical. That I slept, and I think I woke up in the same position that I laid down in, which is always the sign of a very good sleep.
That sounds like when I passed out on the couch yesterday before going to work, which was bad news for my neck.
You see the meme where it says, when I'm over 30 and I fall asleep in the wrong position, I hurt myself today. Too bad I hate that version of that song.
Not ready to cash that one in?
No. God, no. Just no. I mean, I appreciate it for what it is, but just no. It wasn't that great. So, Steve, do you want to do some beer news?
Let's do some beer news.
Cool. Beer and liquor. I mean, we call it beer news, but it's more of like...
Oh, Morganton's Font of Flora has a tap room at Optimus Hall,
Yeah.
where Boxcar Betty's will be opening up eventually.
That's cool
That
as fuck.
could have, would have, should have been at the end of last year, and we're halfway to March. It's still not open yet.
Safe to say that business is doing pretty well, I would think. But here we go. Craft beer and liquor. And
beers and chickens.
Nice. Texas man arrested Saturday after striking pedestrian, putting the mangled corpse in his passenger seat, driving to the local beer garden, and then calmly walking in to drink while covered in blood.
Is that your blood? Some of it, yes.
What is that from?
Fight Club.
That's right.
Well, broke those first two rules.
Oh, shit. First rule of Mute Club. Don't talk about Mute Club. See? You're doing a good job, Steve. That mangled corpse of the... Yeah. Wonderful. Keep it classy, Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, even the manslaughter charges.
Can't say manslaughter without laughter.
Correct. In the 1970s, Michael Reynolds used empty beer cans to build his entire house in Taos, New Mexico.
That's oddly enough where the ski resort in New Mexico lives.
All right, using deductive reasoning, that's in the northern part of the state, then
Yes.
I would imagine.
Yes, and also where the mountains exceed 10,000 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's in between Albuquerque and Cimarron, because I backpacked in Cimarron with the Scouts. Rest in peace with your new bankruptcy. Happened to be. So, yeah, I know where Taos is in the northeastern portion of New Mexico.
Gotcha. And I'm going to fix your mic stand. It's fucking bothering me. So the Boy Scouts went bankrupt because of all the alleged
Catholicism, apparently.
Oh, fuck. That's gonna sound real good on mic. Yeah.
Wait, edit that out? Nope, super.
Don't really care. Is that better? That's a little high now, isn't it?
So am I.
So was I, allegedly. There we go. Look at there. We got the technology.
Neat.
We'll leave that in. Don't care.
Eh.
It's our podcast. We'll leave that shit in there if we want to. It's better than eating on mic.
The waveform looks no different for it.
No, not really. And like I said, better than us eating. Like, ugh. That's the worst kind of ASMR.
Misophonia. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Isn't that what you sue if you doctor... No, that's mesothelioma.
Mesothelioma.
Mesohornioma. Okay. Steve, the South Dakota Senate passes a bill that will allow colleges to brew and distill for coursework. That's already legal in North Carolina.
Yeah,
there's
that's
Boone?
App State, and I think UNC Charlotte has it in the works. And misophonia is apparently the correct term for fear of chewing on mic and repetitive noises, pencil tapping, snapping gum, dripping water.
They went over something. I listened to Whitney Cummings' podcast with Dave Grohl, and they were talking about like how certain sounds just seem louder than and it makes you more annoyed. And there's like some kind of phobia or something about that. But I think I have that because like sometimes I'll hear certain sounds that just bother the shit out of me, and I can't believe it doesn't bother anybody else. Do you get like that?
Some here, some there. Commercial radio.
One of our local channels, you mean?
I remember I used to like 106.5.
I know. I can't believe Emily likes that shit, but I just can't. But they both sound exactly the same, by the way. They sound like the same person. And it just sounds so overdone, over-scripted to me. Like, it doesn't sound like a natural conversation that they're having, if that makes any... Bob and Tom actually sounded like two guys sitting down having a conversation.
Yeah.
Two guys named Chris is the same way. Like,
yep.
It sounds like us just sitting around bantering, but that one sounds like they're just reading its shit off of a cue card every day, but I'm sure they're nice people.
I'm downloading that girl episode now. I was like, oh, I didn't...
that was the second episode.
Resubscribe to it. Oh yeah, my tablet decided to eat all its podcast subscriptions, and I think there were 900 actual subscriptions and 1,800 altogether from like downloading like a single episode. But then it still pops up as this podcast. Like here's this one episode instead of an actual subscription to it to have the entire list.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks to the magic of technology, it had backed itself up, so I whittled it down to about 400. And now it's back up to 500.
Of course it is. I was podcasting it. I think that's my past time on the plains. God, I mean, it's. I don't want to hear any babies crying, which thankfully I didn't this time. But I would rather just listen to a podcast. Yeah, putting some jolt in you.
Yeah, second glass of cold brew is doing the trick.
Nice. Yeah, he's alive.
That's like I carried away here.
Okay.
Could have put a bolt here and a bolt here, and then zap me.
Do you remember? You might. No, because Eastland. How long's Eastland Mall been closed? Like, goddamn, like
not quite 20 years because it was still open when I first came to Charlotte in 2000.
No, I think it was open. I think it was open even when I moved to Charlotte in 2004.
It must have been soon after that then.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
I think by the time I moved back to Charlotte in 2005, it had been snuffed.
Yeah, it was a ghost town.
So that puts it roughly 15 years.
But they used to have a restaurant in there called Frank and Stein's.
There was one at Four Seasons Mall in Greensboro.
Okay, it must have been
and apparently that place kicked the bucket before any of us were of legal drinking age, because that was a neat idea for a quick service restaurant.
Well, it's not
hot dog and a cheap beer.
It's not around anymore, so we could bring it back.
You know, you think you hate the industry that you're in now? Try restauranting.
Well,
Did you ever go to Mr. Dunderbox?
No.
Did you ever see or hear of that?
Heard the name,
that
never
was
investigated
mine
it.
and Colin's obsession back in the day, that it was a European style quick service restaurant. I think Four Seasons had one, and I know Haynes Mall had it because I would meet him there like soon after I turned 21. And that's when I discovered the wonders of the Soundsmith's Teddy Porter, served in a clear bottle, but
Clear bottled porter?
a clear bottled porter. So it looks like it's a pitch black bottle with gold foil on it, and it wasn't until like drinking it, then putting it down, like, oh,
Nice.
This ink is being served in a clear bottle.
Nice. It's not beer if you can see through it.
Thanks, Janie.
I'm glad that storm whittled itself out and everything's back to normal now. That's good news for everybody. The less family drama, the better. Not going to go into mine. Fortunately, I don't have to really have any sort of delvings into that realm. I'd like to stick to my own circle of hell instead of going to everyone else's.
Your own private hell?
I love that fucking song. That's my favorite one on that album, actually. More beer news, Steve. Epic Brewing Company spoofs the low-calorie beer craze with a new 500-calorie IPA.
Pardon? By the way, when you go to Denver, go there. Yeah. That was fun.
I think it's like supersize IPA is what it's called, and it's like so many extra hops to get the calories up to 500 calories in a serving.
That's
awesome.
Interesting, considering that your standard pint of beer is good for 120 to 250 calories. Yeah, Guinness had a billboard for a while that said 125 calories and not on purpose. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's this big fat beer." I was like, "No, it's simply black. It's actually fairly light."
Yeah,
that.
Steve, is another travel bottle I got when I got the Baron Jaeger. It was John A.P. Connolly's small batch salted caramel.
Oh no, shit! It's a small batch. It's an airplane bottle.
Not that kind of small, you big silly.
I still have some airplane bottles of Larceny from when I went to Vegas. Like, guess I need to hurry up and use those.
How is Larceny?
It's a pretty decent run-of-the-mill whiskey.
This is produced by Bogue Sound Distillery in Bogue, North Carolina. That's interesting. And it's not even a whiskey. I thought it was whiskey. It just says American small batch, spirits distilled from grain with natural flavor added. This is going to be an interesting episode.
Some whiskey flavored whiskey.
Oh my god, it smells like caramel. So, this is going to be the weirdest cheers. Oh,
well, there you have it. Plastic on glass doesn't make a lot of anything.
Oh my fucking god, that is one of the best liquids I've ever put in my mouth. That's fantastic, Steve. Please try that.
Oh, that's dangerous.
That is so good.
Does this come in full size?
Dude, I hope so, because that's awesome.
That is game over.
You know what that would be good in? Splashed over vanilla ice cream. Or you dip a ice cream sandwich. I think we just found what we're doing on 54. I might have to get Emily to try this. I'm going to text her ass and get
her own bottle.
All right, first official appearance of...
Where's Booge?
Come upstairs.
There you go. Let's see where Bogue is.
This is Bogue Sound, so that's
I got to feel
automatically.
It's on the coast, and given my unfamiliarity with it, it must be in the northern half of the coast.
This is going in the Hall of Fame.
Drink Boge, get bougie.
Bougie sound.
Bougie sound.
I'm so old. Somebody had to explain to me what bougie was. It was Kristen when she worked for me.
Bourgeois.
She's like, I'm bougie. I'm like, oh, okay. You don't have to explain that anymore.
Jacksonville.
Oh. Okay, so Jacksonville's
kind of mid coast.
mid. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's sort of near, like, past Greenville, which I've never been to. You been to Greenville, North Carolina?
My sister went to East Carolina.
She got out alive.
Yeah. My Camry got flooded there, so on top of it being a shithole, my opinion of that place is even less. Like, how the hell is that a thing? Let's see. All right, yeah. Bouge is due north of Emerald Isle, due east of Jacksonville, south of New Bern.
Okay.
If you make it to Morehead City, you went too far.
Cool. Well, we need to go there.
So if you make it to Raleigh, go another 3 hours east, and there you are.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right.
So from here, it's
a haul.
Yeah.
5.5, 6 hours.
I'd give it 5. If you're going through Raleigh, you've gone out of your way.
Right.
But easily 4.
Yeah. So after the 500-calorie IPA... Oh, hey, honey.
You're going to like this.
You're going to like this. We guarantee it. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. Everybody, give a warm welcome to my wife, Emily.
Hey, Em.
Emily, try this. I'm not going to tell you what it is. But you're going to like it.
I dread this already.
You shouldn't. What do you think?
Smooth,
But
Clean her nose right out.
burning. What is this?
salted caramel liqueur. God, that's fucking delicious, isn't it? Come here and kiss me.
AJ, give her some of the red ale.
Oh, yeah, here you go. Here's some Irish red ale. It's time to get Emily drunk on our podcast.
Yay!
A drunk Emmy is a fun Emmy.
It's Friday Eve.
I like this much better.
All right.
You don't like the salted caramel that much?
No. I like that much better.
More for us.
The Amaretto was good, though.
You love me, so that's the important part.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
All right.
See you later, you little jerk.
If looks could kill, that was going to leave a bruise.
Well, you texted me just as I pulled out sandwich supplies to make a sandwich, so
Where's my sandwich?
get your own sandwich.
I love her. Steve, beer waste helps.
Take 2.
Okay, I know how to. It's Havre, so it's like Brett Favre, except it's Havre. And I didn't want to say Havre, and I didn't want to say Harv. So we'll just say beer waste helps small Montana towns save money on water treatment. So evidently, if you put it just the right amount of the beer waste in the water treatment, it bonds with the other stuff and cleans. So they saved $1 million in this town on water treatment by using spent beer
Grain.
grains. Yeah.
Cool.
Isn't that's neat? And see there, big.
My immediate thought was like something about feeding agriculture.
God damn, that is so fucking good. Got to get take 2. Got to get a full bottle of that. That is, and it's in North Carolina. North Carolina stepping your game up with the distilling. All right, and last but not least, Mr. Steve, this is bothersome to me. Iron Root Republic Distillery wins the world's best bourbon, and they are out of northern Texas. I've never had bourbon from Texas. Had it from Florida, had it from Kentucky, had it from North Carolina, but never had it from Texas. World's best. So you're saying it's better than Pappy, it's better than Buffalo, it's better than Rare, it's better than...
That means if you see it anywhere, you better get some now, boy.
Oh my God, like whiskey people are like that. Like if they have a best of whiskey for the year, whatever's number one ends up selling out. I think it was last year was Henry McKenna.
Yeah,
bottle
the
and bond.
10-year,
Couldn't find it
because
anywhere.
was that I like to call it the hen tin, because I had a couple bottles of that back in the day, and now I can't find it anywhere.
Yep.
Because that was for a little while my secret weapon, and I told nobody outside of like you and Kaylin and her extended family when I met all of them at her grandma's funeral 3.5 years ago.
I can't believe y'all been together that long.
Before in April.
Well, you know what? You're going to start a new. No, you're going to end the old job in April, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The transition period may very well kill me.
So next week you start the week after next at
Yeah, it'd be
Carvana.
March 2nd.
Is it Carvana or Vana?
I like Vana because Nirvana.
Yeah, Nirvana. Anybody who says Nirvana is worse than Al Qaeda.
Like the beginning of the In Bloom when the guy mispronounces the band. Here's Nirvana.
Yikes. There was a safety who got drafted by the Oakland Raiders.
Does he dance?
I hope so. He doesn't wear hats though. He got drafted, and when they were announcing, with the blah blah pick in this year's draft, the Oakland Raiders select Nnamdi Asomugha. His name is Nnamdi Asomugha, and I know it's spelled really really weirdly, but on national television. Maybe at least ask somebody how to say that name before you announce it on live TV like that.
We now introduce Samuel Jones. Spelled, please read your screen today.
Steve, that's all the beer news I
like
have.
Betty White on SNL.
Yes.
Name's Jablonski. How do you spell that? SMITH.
Well, yeah. I'm taking it slowly today, sir. You kind of are, but you're already a whiskey ahead of me.
Not taking it slow. I'm kind of in self-destruction after self-destruction mode.
Well, the good news is you're officially newly careered.
Relaxation mode. Yeah, that's it.
Well, I've got the travel bug. I always get this super intense depression coming home from vacation. Not to come home and see the kiddies and the wife and the house and my friends, just that it's like back to normal life. Like,
yeah.
It's always
feeling Wanderlusty.
Yeah, and I told you this at Saucer Monday, but I might as well tell the Potosphere. So I ran into a friend of mine on the way to Las Vegas. Name's Ryan Davis. And we worked together at Food Lion, I guess, when we were...
By the way, that guy is impossible to look up on the podcast app.
Oh.
It's just two common names together.
On the podcast app, yes, but on comedy... Yeah, he's got about 1.5 million subscribers, and he lives in Los Angeles now. He's from Concord. We worked together for, I guess, about a year or two, and he saw me at the airport, and he's, AJ! And when you hear your name at an airport and you're not expecting anybody to know who you are, it's not like walking down the street and you can ignore it. It's like, okay, somebody might actually. I was like, holy shit, it's Ryan. And I was like, dude, is it weird to be like kind of famous now? I was like, because I've always known you as you, man. Like, he's like, man, I'm still me. Just he's like, no, it's weird. And like while I was when we landed, because he was on the same flight as me, so when we landed. He waited for me, and we just chatted for about 20 minutes or so. And, man, he was just so happy to see. And I haven't seen this guy. I'm 34 years old. I probably haven't seen that cat since I was 21 or 22. He looks the same. I look the same. He was so happy to see somebody he knew because he's basically living out of airports and hotel, traveling and touring and everything. He was just so happy to see somebody he knew, that wasn't family, obviously. But yeah. It was really neat, and it made me happy to see him, and it made me happy that he remembered who I was. But it also made me sad because like I was like, he's doing so well, and then I looked at me and I'm like, what am I doing? But then you can't compare yourself to everybody, and even he said it's crazy that it happened like it did because he wasn't
it's gonna be him and John Reap and Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah,
the comedians from this dumb state.
Yeah.
Way to go, fellas.
Yeah. Well, I said, what was the jumping off point? He said, well, he goes, I went to a Chappelle show, not the show. He went to a Dave Chappelle comedy.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he was gonna be on Chappelle's show, he would have been underage to have been on said show.
True, but he's like, I went there, and he's like, you know what, man, that looks so much fun, and I think I'm pretty funny. I want to give it a shot. He did the open mic circuit, and he got a little bit bigger, and then just blew up. And like he's doing really good. And I was like, is it? He's like, it's so weird. He got a birthday text from Dwayne Wade, like, happy birthday, dude. I'm like,
Even I know who that is.
I was like, it's got to be so weird. He's like, oh no, it's totally weird. Like, he's like, you're hanging out with people, and then after a while, when you meet so many celebrities, like they're just like us, except people know who they are. And yeah, it made me sad for me, but you can't compare yourself because not everybody. Like it's because the comparison is what the vacuum of joy is what they call it, and I'm sure there are people who wish they could play guitar and sing that look and go, man, I wish I could do that. Just in the same way that, man, I wish I could tour the country and do what I love to do. But, one step at a time, I guess. But it was good to see him. And he wants to be a guest on the podcast when he comes back into town. So I told him, hey, having somebody who's professionally funny on the podcast would be great. It'd be great to catch up and, have him on and get you to meet him and, grow our podcast audience too. And that I didn't, for the record, I didn't ask him. He said he would be on here. Like I'm not.
You mentioned an outlet and he suggested, hey, that's not a terrible idea.
Yeah,
I'm not a
coattail right. I did not beg him to be on there to grow our podcast. That was not. I would never do that to anybody because I have. What is it? Integrity.
Was he actually wearing a jacket with coattails? Because that's a very outmoded means of dress.
It is.
But if so, bravo to him.
Well, Paul F. Tompkins probably has several coattails.
Yes.
He is very dandy, and he looks great all the time.
On the HBO app, there is an early special of his from the late 90s.
How is it?
It's hilarious.
Is he mustache clad?
I think this was pre-mustache, but except for that, though, it's still in suit.
Yeah,
still a grill Norwegians find sexy.
Nice, but it was
definitely more funny story than jokey. But
I like that.
Definitely. Yeah, it's unmistakably him. Only 20 years earlier.
Mm-hmm. We called up a little bit, and I was like, where you heading to? He's like, well, I got to go back home to L.A. He goes, I'm have an audition for a new Netflix pilot that's going out, so he might be hitting the big screen.
That's been correction, hitting lots of smaller screens, but with the advent of the $300 65-inch television, small screen's quite relative.
That's true.
Which is funny that 4 years later, my 48-inch is quite dwarfed by the everything.
When I look at a normal computer monitor now, like after having the TV as mine, it's just like I can't go back. I cannot go back.
Did I ever show you the one I've got
No.
prior to the pair Emily got me?
No.
It's a 29-inch ultra wide. So that's like a 16:9 ratio.
Yeah.
This one's a 21:9. So it's just even longer than this.
Nice.
But I think what I'm going to do is set that one up so it's sideways, so it becomes a giant list monitor.
Fuck yes.
For playlists and other things that go in list order. And then put the 224 side by side and just occupy the entirety of this desk. Do you remember it was when the same disc I had at your house. That was Emily's old one.
Yes.
That little corner thing.
Yeah.
That is going to be the biggest possible thing to put in that little desk. They have these two monitors going out every other which way.
Oh, Jesus, man. That's great. So we'll hopefully...
and I think this happened right after last pod, that my Windows partition on my desktop snuffed. A day after Kalen's uncle that lives in town, his messed up, so I gave him some parts and an old computer. Like, here, just cannibalize this and see what you can do to get it working. And then, like, mine wakes up dead. Like, this isn't supposed to be contagious.
That was the failed pilot between Pesci and De Niro. Cannibalize this, cannibalize that.
No, it was Jack Nicholson. And
are you sure?
And Billy Crystal?
No, it was Billy Crystal. And was it Jack Nicholson? I don't know.
Or was it De Niro? It's De Niro sounds more correct.
I don't know why I got Pesci on the mind.
Why not? When's the last time you watched the first two.
I've never
Homes Alone.
none Christmas. But yeah, back to Ryan, man. It meant a lot to me to be remembered. So hopefully he can be on here and we can get him some good brews and welcome him back to the Queen City.
De Niro and Crystal.
De Niro and Chris. I was 50% correct, and also 50% incorrect.
Bonus. Do you know who the director was?
I've analyzed both of them.
I punched in analyze this first.
That was the first one. Is it a well-known director?
As well as actor.
Will I guess this at all?
Depends on your Ghostbusters know-how.
Bill Murray?
No, but you're real close.
Dan Aykroyd?
Take 3.
Egon? Can't remember his fucking name.
Harold Ramis, rest in
Harold
peace.
Ramis, that's right. He died last... No,
it was a couple years ago, but yeah.
People dying sucks, man. You know, we're getting to the age where there's going to be...
Whoa, almost 5 years ago. February 24th, 2014.
Fuck. No, 6 years ago.
Oh, shit.
It's 2020. Come on, Barbara Walters.
By the way, Jameson makes me bad at math.
Jameson makes you everybody bad at a lot of things.
Hey, it's making me good for my mood, man.
Yes, it is. Here's a funny story. Steve always messages me, I'm exhausted, I'm not going to be a good co-host. You are always not only a good co-host, but the best co-host that I could ever possibly want.
Yay.
Yes. I'm out of beer news, too. So, Steve, before we delve into...
Funny because the song that got me into the Offspring was Self-Esteem.
It's a good one. Who's your favorite Dexter? The one who sings or the one who kills?
Sings.
Or the one who has a laboratory? That's about the only Dexters I can think of.
Mom's neighbor growing up was a Dexter, but I haven't seen that guy since the 80s.
That's a great name. Like, there should be more Dexters. We've established in episode 1 that Keith is not a great name. And neither is... What was the other one you said? God damn, that was 52 episodes ago. Neil. I don't like Neil. But Dexter's great. It has... Pardon my pun, I don't mean it, but dexterity to the name. Like, it has, like, substance. I don't know where I'm going with that. Steve, before we get into the history of Mr. Hancock, wrong Herbie, what is your... I've been watching a lot of the speed runs on video games on YouTube, and it makes me sick. What is your favorite Super Mario game?
World.
Now, all right, I know you say World, but we're going to include anything like Mario Kart, Dr. Mario, N64 Mario, everything that had... So, if it has Mario in the title, it's a Mario game. You're going to pick Super Mario World.
Yes.
What's your reasoning?
That was the standout startup, holy shit, look what a Super Nintendo can do game.
Yeah.
And, Mario 3 was a tough act to follow.
Mm-hmm.
But that one really grabbed a hold of me.
Yeah. Well, let's...
Mostly because of the Yoshi ejector seat that Emily was always bothered by.
So, which games are we going to include? I say we rank them.
I think if you were to ask Kaylin the same thing, she would say Dr. Mario.
Okay.
And there is a joint game on the Super Nintendo that is Tetris and Dr. Mario. That's the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you get in 2-player mode. Round of Tetris, round of Dr. Mario, round of Tetris. Dr. Mario awards you no additional points for however you go about clearing your viruses, unless you're playing faster.
Mm-hmm.
Tetris, however, you can stack the blocks in such a manner that things will add up more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So points-wise, I would always win, but she'd always do better than me at the Dr. Mario portion.
This reminds me of when I used to play Monopoly in like high school and college. We had like parties and stuff. And you played Monopoly.
How badly did you hate these people?
Everybody always wanted to get Boardwalk and Park Place. What I would always do is buy every one of the cheapest because it sucks.
You're playing a numbers game that if you buy the cheapest of each color, your odds are much better.
I am. Here's the thing. It sucks to fork out a one-time payment. It sucks to keep getting $5 to death.
Yeah.
Until it's like over.
That is the the game deals not in nickels and dimes, but in the fives and tens to death.
Yes.
You betcha. Especially playing it pre-digital era.
Really.
That's just a lot of transactional time, having to like fork out like all your fake money.
Was it the Top Gear guys played, and it's just, I want to like playing with you, James. Why? He says you robbed the bank. It's a part of the game.
Pay no attention to my copier here with all this hot pink paper. What? You've never seen the $100,000 bill?
Mm-hmm. To detour a little bit,
What, us?
Yes, about numbers game. I was $400 down at the poker table. I'm a Texas Hold'em guy. The first tournament I played at Caesars was good. Like the quality of the players was good. The second tournament was good too. I just busted out early. I made it to the final table in both of them. But then the second one at Bally's,
Does that mean like they keep going further into the casino, or they keep getting higher?
I haven't made it long enough to go higher in the casino, unless you allegedly stop by Planet 13 before
That'd
you
be
go.
a really bad way to play.
It's a horrible way to play.
That's why they keep feeding you free booze.
That's right. But I played at Bally's, and then I busted out at Bally's because the players there were just the lady beside me who was inching closer to me as we were playing, and if I weren't married. But we were talking like during hands, and she's like, "Where the fuck did these players come from?" Like they were just maniacs, and that's hard. It's hard to win against those guys because when they do catch a lucky break, they can bust you out. So you have to be So I busted out earlier than I've ever busted out of a tournament there. So I was mad, and then Preston was like, "Well, we're gonna play craps tonight, and so just watch us." So I watched him play craps. He taught me how to. Do you know how to play?
No, and two, that's why I had to bring Pepto to Vegas.
Well, Montezuma's Revenge is only supposed to be at mostly Latin places. I digress. He taught me how to play that.
It's not far from the border.
Yeah. He taught me how to play craps, and then we saw a guy there lose $2,000 in like an hour and a half on craps. That's not how you play craps. You don't all or nothing all your bets, but... he taught me how to play that. I was
Plays this roulette?
I was like, you know what? Matt plays roulette, and he only plays the same fucking numbers. He plays numbers. I was like, no, yeah, okay. But
the only luck I had with that was at Cherokee when the state game was on.
Yeah.
If they're up, bid red. If they're down, bid black. And then I left $100 up.
It's easier than thinking. So he's like, well, tomorrow play. He's like, if you want to play, then I was like, okay, I got it down now. So he taught me how to play, and I turned
that
$100.
makes one of us in this room.
I turned $100 into $450, and while I was at the table, I rolled probably 35 to 40 times without rolling a 7. I was on a fucking streak, and I made the guy down the other side of the table. I made him about $1,100 in my hour of rolling. And so he came down, he gave me $50 in chips. He's like, you just made me a lot of money, man. I was like, thanks.
Cool. It's fun to play. I have no idea what's going on, but like with all the implementation going on, like the cane with the dice,
that's so cool.
It looks cool.
All right, so
I
can teach you how to play
I
right
can't
now.
make heads or tails of here now.
Yep, here now. So you have the circle. All right, so
It's
say
gonna be in one eyeball and out the next.
Well, you'll get a good idea. So you have your table, and then before anybody starts, say this is a brand new game, it's a full table, it's 10, 11 people, and I'm about to roll. So I have the dice in my hand. We all put our bet, and it's most of the time this was a $10 table, so it's a minimum $10 bet every time. So you put $10 on the line, and then whatever number I roll becomes open, and so they put the open button on. Say I roll an 8, and they put it on 8. So then I can keep my bet there, or I can back up my bet with another $10. So I'll win $20 if I roll an 8. Or you can put bets on any number you want, but if you roll a 2 and a 12 or an 11, it's craps and you don't get any money. If you roll a 7, you bust out, all the bets on the table go to the house. But the first time, if you roll
2, 7, 11, and 12 are bad luck.
Yeah, 2, 11, or 12, though, you don't lose your money.
Okay.
You just have to roll again. But 7, if you roll, the first time you roll, though, if it was a brand new game and I rolled a 7, we would all get $10. But if you roll a 7 after that, when it's open, then you don't get it.
7's bad unless your first 7.
Yes. So say I rolled an 8. Let's say I rolled a 9. So every time, this is how I made the most money. Because on the dice, there are more combinations of 6, 7, and 8. There's just more combinations of rolling that. Mm-hmm. So say I roll a 9. So they put the open 9. So bam. So I get $20 on my $10 bet if I roll a 9. Or if anybody who has a 9, or anybody gets their money as long as they have that bet. But say I'm gonna put also $10 on 6, and I'm gonna put $10 on 8. So every time anybody who bets on that number, you can put a bet on anything. You can also bet on a hard 6, so that's 2 3s. So a 4 and a 2 is not a hard 6. You can put money. You can bet on
or
anything.
1 and a 5.
You can't put money on that, but you could put money on. I think you could. Well, actually, I think you can put money on that. But the odds of you rolling a 1 or a 5 are very slim. Like you're just asking to. So what I did was I just put basically money on 6 and 8, and then I put like a $5 min bet on rolling all the numbers before I busted out. And then when you do that, it's a 30-1. So for 30-1 odds. So if you're on a hot streak, like I was, that's why I made that guy so much money, because he had a bunch of money on that. So it's fascinating. Basically, if you just put your money on 6 and 8, and then just have the regular line bet and never. The odds are in your favor that you're at least break even. And it's a good team game, too, because everybody's playing. But you can also put money on somebody rolling a 7. But as it gets... It's a team. It's kind of a team thing. You don't want to bet against somebody, because then you look like an asshole at the table. So it was a great game. Like, it was fun. That's how you play craps. Like, if you saw it in person, it would be a little bit easier.
I found it really overwhelming. Like fun to watch, but like I have no idea what's going on here, and burned a lot of time and a lot of whiskey watching it.
Yes,
like I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, it was weird because you drink for free at the casinos, but
if you're playing,
so I wasn't used to.
Otherwise, what I did was have my bandolier of airplane bottles and picked up a liter bottle of ginger ale, fix a drink in the room. Come downstairs and go hoof about.
Yep. So I wasn't used to this, because when the cocktail waitress came by, she's like, "What do you want?" I was like, "Let's take an old fashioned." She goes, "Well, we can't do that. It's just like out of machine. It's pre." I was like, it was weird to me, because at the poker table you can order whatever the fuck you want, because it comes straight from the bar.
It may vary
from casino
place to place. Yeah.
This was at Excalibur. It should have been. I mean, Excalibur's owned by MGM.
Yeah, it's all MGMs and
Caesars.
Yeah.
Caesars owns a fucking 60% of the strip, which is why I have an account with Caesars. I'll be going to Cherokee very soon, probably, because I'd go back to Vegas as much as I want, but Emily would get mad at me for going.
Cherokee's drivable.
Yeah, there's that, and they have plenty of tables. So we went to I think we went into it wasn't MGM. We went into Mandalay Bay, and I think that night,
if they could make their beer prices cheaper, that'd be nice. Like, it's $8 for this thing. Really?
Oh my god, we went to
like, no wonder Tiger Mike's dead here.
Yep.
It's now only back in Atlanta, and I think one in Tennessee now.
Yep, they closed in Cary. There was one in
I
Cary.
didn't know they made that far.
There was one in Cary.
Because I think there were 3 in the Charlotte area.
Yeah. Well, I was never really impressed. The food was okay.
Yeah.
But the beer was always really expensive.
My joke still stands, where every night is $9 beer night.
Mm-hmm. At least Saucer, the food. The food's gotten better at Saucer, actually. When in doubt, get the special.
It started off strong, and then it plummeted, and then it's gotten a lot better.
If you get the special every time you go to Saucer, you won't be disappointed.
That's how I like to order food anyway, because I'm indecisive. And if they could make the fish and chips a thing all the time, that'd be even better.
they need to take away the adult Lunchables platter.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the pizza, keep the wings, but I don't know what you're doing with the wing prices. And
Lifting them.
Yes.
They apparently the wings are flapping upward, and they should stop doing that.
well, at this prices, they should be turkey legs.
Yeah.
Keep the burgers. The burgers are good.
Unfortunately, turkey legs, they're delicious but very cartilagey.
That's fair. Keep
I don't see what a Renaissance Fair has to do with any of this.
True. Keep the nachos. Keep the salads, but just I don't know, man. You would think they make enough money that you know what? We should just adopt the old slogan we had, or not slogan, but the idea. At Saucer, you keep the beer cheese, the specials, and keep the beer cheese and the specials, and then just take Stool Pigeon's old menu, and just make that the menu.
And their price tags, because
everything was $7 or under.
Yeah.
You want a pizza? $7. Want a burger? $7. Want a salad? $7. Everything was $7 or under on that menu. I miss that place. I don't miss the bathrooms.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a cat box for men.
Well, granted, it was better. I would rather lick the toilet at Stool Pigeons than step foot in the one at Bad Dog. Do you remember the one at Bad Dog?
Same diff. It was vile.
Oh, it was way worse. I think I contracted several diseases just by stepping in there. I'm out of O'Shea's. Do you want to do yours next? The session?
Yeah, let's do the session.
Let's do the session, and I guess I'll crack open the Baron Jaeger, and we can start our discussion. Actually, you know what? While you're doing that, I think my favorite Super Mario game is definitely not the second one, because it wasn't even supposed to be a Mario game.
Yeah, it was like it was very exciting when it came out, and then realizing this wasn't initially going to be the thing.
No,
but had a lot of fun doing it. And the more time that passes, the more they're reintegrating those properties back into it.
Yeah,
they've got Shy Guys and Yoshi's Island.
Best
game you're not playing, but when you do, play it on mute.
I think if I had to pick number one for me, while Steve is doing that, I think my number one would be, if I could only play one the rest of my life, I think it would be Super Mario 3. It was pretty revolutionary at the time, and I know Super Mario World was later, but I think I'll go into this when Steve gets back. But I thought the graphics on 3 were better than the ones in Super Mario World. But if you don't have a Raspberry Pi, A, you should, and 2, they have a lot of ROM hacks, so you can play what was it? There was a game called Super Mario. There's so many different ROM hacks that I don't remember. But basically what it was Mario 3 graphics with a mixture of levels from 1, 2, and World. So it was incredibly interesting, and you could do the tail, you had flower power, you had the cape, you could do all the other stuff from other ones, and I think you could play with Toad, Luigi, or Mario. So it was kind of like a Super Mario meritage of greatness, and you should totally get a Raspberry Pi. We are not a paid sponsor for them; we just support them. And if you want one, it's $100. Steve will get you a Raspberry Pi and the 2,500 games that comes on it, from NES, SNES, Atari, PlayStation, Sega, all the good stuff. So, Steve, I was telling the folks that, we need beer before you sit down.
And some bad stuff, too.
I was telling them, I think Super Mario 3 is my favorite, because I felt like the gameplay was the same as World, but I prefer the graphics on number 3 than I do on World. Thank you. They're not better or worse. I just prefer the graphics on number 3.
Okay. You've also got the All-Stars version of 3, where the graphics have been 16-bitten.
That's true. 16-bitten, twice shy, baby.
Hate
Ready?
that song.
I do too. Ready? Nice. That was Great White, wasn't it?
Yes.
They weren't. That's a session IPA.
So good you lick the can.
That's a session IPA, Steve.
Yep.
Before we crack open,
Without being completely bland or vile.
that's true.
That's why I cleaned out the local Aldi just up the street of them.
That's the sound of me cleaning a glass because I want us to taste what the Bärenjäger tastes like without the other shit we've had in this glass.
What, honey coffee? I think those would mix well.
We can try that after we
I
actually
gotta have a. Oh, wait, I've already got plans for a degenerate Saturday.
Oh,
Brian's doing a thing in Noda.
I
haven't heard
for his birthday. Yeah, I have a show. So yeah, I'm one of my rare. That's another.
How late?
7 to 10 in Monroe.
It's early for it.
I've been super depressed about that, man. Music's been good to me, but it's been apocalyptically slow.
Few and far between.
Yeah, it has, and I'm trying to look on the bright side. But I love the cap on this, by the way. It's like a honeycomb. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of the places we used to play are not there anymore, and and then some of the other places we used to play, I've just chosen not to play anymore because they're just not fun to play, and I'm not going to do it just for. If I'm only playing just for the money, I don't want to play. Yeah. It's been...
Otherwise, you start your internal farewell tour.
Yeah, I don't want to get burned out on it, and I feel like that happens a lot. It's been a solid 13, 14 years since I've had Bärenjäger, and you've never had it.
No.
Bärenjäger is honey liqueur from Germany. And Steve is going to read all this before we delve into V-Dub. We haven't done a Volkswagen episode yet, so... Thomas turned me on to this. That looks even. So, Steve, tell everybody a little bit about Bärenjäger, since you speak way better German than me, because my German sounds about like my Swedish.
Ach, heilige Scheiße. Tweckel und Hunde Gebarenfabrik. Bärenjäger is a German honey liqueur made with a generous amount of premium honey and other pure natural ingredients only. Enjoy Bärenjäger straight, well chilled, or as part of a delicious cocktail. Whoops, this shit's at room temperature. Imported by Niche W&S, Cedar Knolls, New Jersey.
I know Cedar Knolls I didn't like.
Heyo. Yeah, well, for what it's worth, this being a U.S. import bottle, it's mostly English. So we can figure out what we gotta know, and then let's go try the thing.
Yep. All right.
Luckily, it's not Kleiner Feigling. More on that after this message from our sponsor.
That tastes exactly like I remembered. It's honey liqueur.
Oh, my.
That's honey
That's
liqueur.
delicious. Yeah, this and the Jameson cold brew would meld nicely.
We can try that right now since we've already tried it on its own. Unless we don't have anything to mix it with.
I would say them with each other.
So, I know we don't have yeah. Because we were gonna do.
I don't want to stir my coffee. It's I put the half and half in first, and put the caffeine over it, and then whatever happens.
You fucking rebel.
I'm dirtying fewer spoons that way, sir.
Have you seen the meme about how strong you like your coffee? It's like how dark do you like your coffee? It pours coffee and it looks at it and it says, "Let's commit murder." He goes, "Oh, too dark." Pours a little bit of half and half and it says, "Let's contemplate murder." Perfect.
Yeah, I like mine at contemplate.
Same. Allegedly. Because I was
your backyard's too tiny to bury anybody in, by the way.
That is true. In honor of Volkswagen, we were going to do some kind of German liquor. Steve detests Jägermeister, and I detest Rumpelminz. So we were only left with Bärenjäger and a bunch of other stuff I couldn't find.
Obscure stuff.
They have German blackberry schnapps, and I couldn't find that. That was one I was looking for. They had the blackberry schnapps and wild cherry schnapps. They're all made in Germany, and I couldn't find it.
Wilde Kirsch?
Well, I thought about if I got the cherry schnapps, do a cherry amaretto whiskey. Do a 1 part whiskey, half part. Like, I think that would probably be really
That
good.
sounds pretty rad.
Yeah.
The one I was talking about a moment ago, the Kleiner Feigling, is a fig vodka. And I drank that when I was in Germany at 16. And sometime when I was of legal drinking age, found it at an ABC store in Raleigh. But this is now 17 years ago. That it was this one time, like, yep, it's the same stuff, and it's this outrageously sweet thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Just
you,
like
you would have to, you would have to eat fig Newtons to come down off the sugar rush from this fucking thing.
You know, mosquitoes lay their larvae in figs,
Delicious.
isn't it?
And it means I need to eat more to kill more of them before they could suck our blood. Only the females, though.
Escar
They're
mosquito.
all vampiras.
Well, the escargot snails.
Yeah.
What's the caviar?
Yeah.
Is the eggs.
Yeah.
Mosquito caviar. It's mosquito caviar. And
Yeah.
we might have a title for this episode.
That is delicious.
I like that. I like that a lot.
But yeah, it's a fig vodka, and that phrase, the Kleiner Feigling,
Yeah.
is little coward. That on the bottle is this large glass bottle, black label with these like two little beady eyes on it, like these
Neat.
hiding in the dark, and a
Zach
big
Wilde
purple cap.
approves. All right.
Is that crazy or high?
Cry. Hazy? I've mixed the Baron Jaeger and the Jameson.
Oh my!
It smells weird. We have a winner, sir.
All right.
Oh
so
my
I'm onto
God.
something.
That's really good. I think we just created. Oh my God. Steve, is that the best creation we've had on the show? Over 2 years? I can't believe we've been doing this for 2 years.
It's been 2-ish years. It was
Up top.
February of 18.
Jesus. What started out? We started out the bottom, and you know what? We're just a little bit above the bottom.
Not a Drake fan.
God, you're going to have to help me finish that, too, because...
Okay.
Here, give me your arm to twist. I'll just put it in the middle of us.
Let's use the left one.
So, Steve, you admittedly know way more about Volkswagen than I do.
Yeah, especially considering I've now been through the entires of the tech stuff and the American Scandal episodes on Volkswagen and or Dieselgate.
So how much can you do off of just raw memory? They
A
started...
decent clip. Seeing as Ferdinand Porsche of Porsche Sports Car was the originator of the People's Car, as commissioned by Mr. Hitler himself. So only the darkest of origins for what became the ultimate hippie machine. Whoops. That during the late 30s, early 40s, well, he wanted a car to that people could buy and cart themselves around in that was not the Trabant to haunt East Germany much later. That, you could have, mom, dad, and 2 kids shoehorned in the back of this thing at a super cheap price, which is how and why this car was in production until 2003 in Mexico.
Oh my, no way.
Yeah.
The original one?
The original one. The German production stopped in 1980, but I think it was in South Africa and Mexico. The original Beetle was still in production until 2003, and sometime soon after, Mexico kiboshed them used as taxis because of safety concerns.
I can't imagine why.
Because you have less crash protection than this beer can I have in my hand right now. Good news, car's cheap to fix. Bad news, if you have a bad wreck, you're beyond dead.
It's cheaper just to replace the fucking car than it is to fix it, though. At that point, just buy another
or
Beetle.
say nowadays, yes. But why this? Because episode 53. Because Herbie was one of my favorite movies growing up. least all the originals. Never saw Fully Loaded.
Wasn't
And
Lindsay
that
Lohan
was-
in that?
Yeah, right before she got super cracked out. It's like during that brief moment of time that she wasn't jailbait and she wasn't cracked out, like she was actually really attractive for a while.
Yeah.
So it would have been peak Lohan, and still haven't seen it. Whoops. And
was
it
so-
also had the 05, I think.
5, yeah.
Yeah, the new Beetle was a strange one because then the new Beetle got replaced by the newer Beetle and then got the axe last summer. And I still haven't seen that Super Bowl ad with Volkswagen's farewell to the very car that made them.
True. They stopped the production in the U.S. of the original one in late 70s, didn't they?
Sale of the original one, because that would also have been the original German ones. In 1980, there was a big changeover in emissions and safety, which that car no longer qualified. Which is funny to think that ostensibly you could have a Mexican import later Beetle, say from 1995 now. So this 25-year import rule that's very popular with Japanese cars because that's where cars don't rust nearly as badly as they do in Europe, could still work. So you could have
An OBD2 Beetle.
I don't even know if we OBD by then. Like, no, if it's still carbureted, then no, it's not. And then it would only be effective next year with 96 when
Right.
OBD2 became
And what
a thing.
what does OBD stand for?
Onboard diagnostics.
I
the
love you,
bane of everybody's existence,
Yeah.
which is why 1995 E36 M3s are so popular.
Well, they
Or-
look better.
They look the same till 99.
I don't know BMWs. I just know the old ones look better.
Yes.
The old ones look awful. The middle old ones, 80s, 90s look good.
Depends on which. Like, all right, so you're not an Isetta fan. The
For quirkiness,
the
it's
Urkel
cool.
car.
Yeah.
But it's-
Man, this is an Urkel episode. I mean, family matters
yes.
till it doesn't.
Uh,
Well, yours is less crazy than mine.
That's still like mine.
Yours is way less crazy. Than
Out of
mine
the
is.
blue, Dad called me yesterday. It's like, hey, it's like, how you doing? It's like, I think I'm still hiring a new job. Put my 2 weeks notice in, and then I just hope it doesn't become a 2 months notice. So, yeah.
They keep paying you good for part-time.
Yeah, but I'm burned the fuck out on that dump. So,
Well, you know what's good?
no.
If you start at Carvana and when you start at Carvana, if you just decide you can't do it anymore, you can. Like, you can just not go back to the print shop, and then we can...
I told him, it's like, all right, I'll offer you part-time through March. I'm not going through another quarter into that dump.
fuck no, dude.
No. I was like, mandatory weekends? Nope.
Fuck no, dude. That's not worth it.
No.
Don't think I didn't think about applying at Carvana also.
It would probably be a pay cut for you, by the way.
I know, but I would have weekends off.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to give up my 6 weeks of vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of nice, actually.
Well, did I tell you that by second year, it's 4 weeks vacation?
Really?
Yeah, that
That's
was a big
cool.
selling point. Like, financially, it's lateral move, but
Well, yeah.
lifestyle-wise, this
Lifestyle.
could suck way less.
We can do podcast and you not hate to have to go to work, or we can do it more often if you want to. Like stuff like that. So it's all good news. It's all good news. And
that's
Nick's
how
corner.
why like trying to do this about every 2 weeks is already a stretch.
True. It won't be though. And maybe we can ramp it up and do on location, and we got to figure that out. But I think we might have to figure that out once your schedule clears out.
I keep thinking like I need to bring the laptop. Oh wait, now I need to bring my desktop. The laptop still works mostly.
Well, you know,
Not bad for a 9-year-old laptop at that.
I could
It's
totally just borrow Emily's laptop. Better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
What's the worst that can happen?
She'll get mad at me for a day and then get over it. Like every time I've done something stupid. Hey, her rules when we first were a couple were don't cheat on me, do not get arrested, and don't get yourself hurt. That doesn't fall in any three of those unless the laptop short circuits. Thanks, Johnny Five.
I've only been zapped by a desktop once, and that was 24 years ago. So if you're wiring things up with the power supply, don't let it be plugged in.
Well, I can't think of anywhere else.
Not also the circumstances surrounding that are no longer pertinent to how these things connect.
Yeah.
Was the last time you played with a Pentium 1? Half past never? Super.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it was a computer that was cutting edge when you were 10.
Yikes. And
even
knowing
then-
my age, that was 38 years ago. Oh, wait, that's the age I feel. Sorry.
Oh, you feel my age?
Yeah, something
Because
like
mine keeps bouncing between 22 and 55. Today morphed into a 55.
that. Yeah.
Although
Not much
the various boozage rolled it back to about 33.
Of course. And it's got coffee in it, which is an upper. Ignore the whiskey for That's good, but
it's
I feel
good
like
cross buzz.
this is good, but I think it makes a better mixer. On ice, it would probably be better because we're having it at room temperature.
Yeah.
This is just good.
I think
good.
the both of them, they recommended serving chilled or over ice or something. Or use one to cut the other.
Like that.
Uh-huh.
Have some more of it, Steve.
I figured that's what you're asking, that you place this right here in front of me.
I insist. I'm not asking. I insist you have more of it. That's fucking delicious.
Okay.
And I'm not really into insist porn.
That's why it's all stepsister.
Yeah, they always put like step in parentheses. Like Rogan has a good point. Like he said, it's about being naughty. He's like, humans are running out of shit to be naughty about, and they're just
Wasn't
like
that
creating.
the last time Farrah was on there? He was talking about it.
Yes.
It was like recently. He was saying like, "What's the deal with all this?"
Yeah.
Like phrasing like, "How about you don't?" You know, it just, you know, we can be adults about this and say it's the babysitter. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because, well, you know what? The introduction to this, I blame, is the movie Clueless from '95, because Alicia Silverstone falls in love with her stepbrother, who is Paul Rudd, who looks just like he does now.
Because everybody loves Paul Rudd.
Yep. Do you know who the Hot Ones guest was today?
No.
Will Ferrell. And it was...
What the Janet Reno is happening here?
It was a great episode, actually. It was a really good one. Not sure how I feel about the game show Hot Ones, but I'm happy for Sean Evans. Like, seems like a really nice guy.
I'm gonna stick to Lego Masters. Speaking of TV, we decided to keep DirecTV since they cut us a much better deal upon threatening to drop them.
I do that every 2 years with Dish.
So we could either have, you know, current thing is well in excess of $100 a month. Well, that's too many.
Too many
To
bucks.
just do internet would be 60, but to do internet plus DirecTV is 85. And if you have just internet, there's a terabyte cap. Combo, there's no cap. And apparently there hadn't been a cap because it's been comboed the whole time we've been there. I've been indifferent to having the TV service the whole time.
You can download whatever you want to watch.
Or
Stream.
YouTube it, sure.
Yeah.
Or, you know, borrowed accounts from people with Amazon, HBO, Netflix, whatever have you. And then if you've got a terabyte cap, that becomes a real threat because that adds up quickly. So apparently me having bought 2 Rokus and Tableau isn't completely a moot point since the Roku does better at smart TV than the smart TV itself does.
It does. Unless you got a Roku TV.
That
Brittany has one of those.
TCL was in a relative infancy 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Picked up a Samsung, no Samsung. Only to discover the Samsung Tableau app sucks. That's the over-the-air DVR thing.
Right.
But Roku does it nicely.
Oh.
Does YouTube does fine. Does HBO, Amazon does fine. Cannot Pluto TV, which is another like a free streaming broadcast. Like it has channels,
But not the planet. It's not a planet, evidently.
Fuck you, NGT
NGT had a great quote about something.
or MGT. Yeah, whatever.
I think it's I don't know. I think he just he had a great it made me it's one of those things. It's one of those mind fuck. Like you just smoked a blunt and somebody like opened your mind to something, but it was so eye opening to me that I read it to Thomas, and even Thomas was like, "Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense." And it's kind of and Thomas isn't one to give credit for anything. So Steve, Neil deGrasse Tyson said, "There's a worm in the street. You walk by it. Does the worm know that you're smart? The worm has no concept of smart. You're not, because you're that much smarter than the worm. Worm has no concept of it, which makes me wonder whether we have any concept if a super species walked right by us. Maybe they're uninterested in us because we're too stupid for them to even imagine having a conversation. You walk by the worms and go, I wonder what the worm is thinking. This is just not a thought that you have, because it's a worm. So one of the best pieces of evidence for why we haven't been visited by aliens is that they have actually observed us and concluded there's no intelligent life here." I was like, huh. That makes a lot of sense, actually. We're all worms.
Now everyone's talking about the worm. Worm is
the word. But wormwood.
See also why I don't like Jägermeister.
You should have brought the man scent.
Oddly enough, Craig dropped me a line yesterday.
How's he doing?
Good, I reckon. I was like, hey, man, I'm downtown. You want to go grab beer? I saw this an hour late. A, phone's on mute. 2, gotta take care of dumb shit at house. So I told him my tentative schedule for next week. Like, well, this is going to be about the last time that I've got sort of free days, and 3 of them are occupied with other job before that gets relatively kibosh, and I just...
We're thinking about having like an OG Saucer own or 2010 gathering here on a Sunday for a cookout. It's not football season, so we can just kind of show up, So it'd be like Emily kind of wanted to have one, so it'll be,
Okay.
me and my missus, you and your missus, Gray and his missus, Brad and his missus, Eric and Rachel.
Let's hope we can chew by then.
Fair. Well, hey, I ate a cheeseburger the next fucking day. So.
I was on Jell-O and ravioli for a month.
But
I
not
think
mixed.
that might have been...
Jell-O ravioli?
Says you. That might have sown the seed of my acid reflux, actually. It's like, then came the day of it's like, the Chef Boyardee's delicious. My throat's on fire.
We'll have Sean and Karin come over, and we'll have Mac and his Emily. We want to have a good chill group, So thinking about having that happen. I want to do a patio out. We have the screened-in porch.
Yeah.
So I want to kibosh all the grass, put sand down, and then put the paver stone, flatten it out, get it level. I'm gonna do this all myself because I'm cheap and I like to learn stuff. But flatten it out, put the paver stone, put actual outdoor patio.
Could pick Sandy Roberts' brains on that too.
That's
they did.
They ended up paying somebody to come out there and do it though.
Okay.
Their first effort, the weeds and everything grew. So I was going to put a weed barrier down and then put sand over that to even it. Put another weed barrier down and then put the paver stones on it. And
where do you find turpentine?
At the turpentine store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right down the road
Wow.
from the Getting place. That used to bother me when my sister said, "Where'd you get that?" The Getting place. It's a 30-year-old joke at this point. So after the so Volkswagen started with just the Bug, right? The Beetle was the only model.
Yeah.
And then without looking it up,
A Dutch businessman discovered that he could really use a truck, a van, some sort of utility vehicle in post-war Europe.
and so
They wound up building the van, the transporter, that
Jason Statham.
and that hardly. This is way slower. Way less, Asian hookers in the trunk because there is no trunk. Or Steel Panther by that point.
It's in the episode of Family Guy where he's driving Quagmire to the airport, and he backs up, and all the Japanese hookers jump out of the Quagmire's trunk. Oh my God! It's okay. They're tagged. Okay, just get me to the airport. That's a good one. But what was the van was right after
the van was after the Beetle, and they realized quickly they needed to reinforce it to impose what they call a ladder chassis into it.
Yes,
because it looks like a ladder.
Yep.
Like it's reinforced, and you need a little more suspension, a little more strength, a little more power to do this. Just don't crash it, otherwise you'll be super dead because you're on the drive axle.
Yeah.
Or on the steering axle. Drive axle's the other side. Whatever.
Correct. How soon after
your knees are your crash barrier?
was the next model the Carmen Ghia?
That would have been roughly concurrent with it.
I almost bought one.
You too, huh? I had a friend when I valeted at the Greensboro airport back in the day that had a coupe. And this was, I guess, a little bit after I'd seen So I Married an Axe Murderer. Because holy fuck, I wanted a Carmen Ghia convertible after that movie.
I fucking love that movie.
She stole my heart and my cat.
This poem sucks.
And that said, I think I'm currently doing the reverse. I stole her heart and her cat.
True.
Like it's funny as shit to see Punk taking a warmer reception to me than her.
Well, Punk has hissed at me like twice, and I'm a cat and baby whisperer, and
Punk hates everybody. I don't know how I broke the spell. I don't know how to explain how to break the spell.
It's that warm demeanor you have, Steve. That very Bob Ross level of trust and companionship. And I thought I used to get
Tell that to your black cat.
When
your gray cat's helpless. The black cat, there might still be hope.
The Coco, though.
Yeah, she loves everybody.
My picture of yesterday.
It's like you're being cute, and she's like,
well, like, I didn't share. Like they all the cats love me, but this picture that Emily took of me kissing Cairo looks like she does not want to be there.
I don't want to call it crepe, but I'm going to call it crepe.
Yes. I gave that to Thomas.
The Crow of Judgment.
But we had... All right, by the way, Gabriel Iglesias has like a collection of 20 Volkswagen vans.
Which is funny shit to think, like, those bunch of tin cans are worth a lot of money.
Well, he said that was his first car, and he loved them. So, like, everybody has their thing. That's why, like,
Dude,
when
I'm not in a hurry to collect Volvo 740s.
I'm not in a hurry to collect
big
Saurians.
That would make more sense. Those are cool. Volvo 740s are not cool unless it's the Paul Newman ones with the 302s in them. And then it's like, that's not a good engine. It's better than the 314 horsepower bullshit that it started with.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah.
I already decided that
nowadays, like, you could LS swap anything. It's like, oh, it's LS swap. It sounds like a vet. Yeah. It's a good motor. That's why they keep doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's lightweight. It's compact. Parts
Like,
are available.
yeah.
Blocks are available.
Or like, oh darn, then what if I just put a 300 horsepower Mustang or Camaro V6 in it?
No,
It,
doesn't
that would
sound
still,
as good.
but it'd still be, twice and a half the power.
Folks don't realize that the old technology of pushrod engine, like all that stuff, it's a compact design. That's why when people LS swap their S2000, like the engine only weighs like 85 pounds more, even though it has 4 more cylinders. Because if you look at the engine cutaway diagram of the F20C from an S2000 and an LS1, the complication of the Honda engine, and the Honda engine will run forever, but if you're looking for cheap, reliable power with displacement, oh my God, have you seen the new smoking tire one takes with both of them in the Super Coopers?
Bits and pieces.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
They remember maybe a year ago him talking about the guy that had it, and now they finally got to drive them.
The one from today
This
is bonkers.
Stupid thing. It's so wonderful.
The one from today was original Mini. It was a 3.5 liter V6 out of a MDX, but it's supercharged. It makes 500 wheel horsepower. 500 wheel horsepower in a Mini Cooper driveline. The engine's in the back. It's rear. It's a mid-engine rear wheel drive Mini Cooper, and every time that he would hit the gas, it would just dart all over the road. It was so awesome. It trapped 140 miles per hour in the quarter mile. That's fucking fast. For those of you who don't know, I ran a 13.9 at 109 miles an hour. So that's 21 miles per hour ahead of me.
That's an exciting way to die.
It was fun all the way till it wasn't.
Yeah. Story my GTI.
Well, after was the Carmendia right
let's
after
get derailed.
the van?
It was
close.
Mid-50s.
And then the thing.
The thing came later, and that totally harkened to the Kummelwagens, the German Jeeps of the era.
Well, that and the back when the SoCal lifestyle, like, it's still the same, but like that sort of fold your front windshield down, cruise the beach.
If your windshield's folded forward and you're going 2 miles an hour, it doesn't matter. If you're going at speed, you better have a visor in front of you. You need a windshield. You need something like, yes, you can still fold down the windshield in your new Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah.
A, it takes effort. 2, your eye doctor is going to love you afterwards.
Mm-hmm. And
it gets icky.
Or the doors themselves. Have you ever you've seen a thing in person, haven't you?
Yeah.
Have you seen how thin the doors are on that?
Uh-huh.
It's hilarious. Like if you even pitch
built,
that idea now,
it is something built in the 70s using 1940s technology.
If you pitch
that
idea now,
is the bare minimum that you need. Like back in the day, a friend of a friend has one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lovely death trap.
Yes, it's great. It's slow.
Effectively a boxy Beetle device that if they made us any more simple, you could have the right side doors and left side doors swappable instead of like, all right, your fronts and backs already are.
They are. They really are.
You know, they could have made it that much more simplified. Screw it. Put hinge both ends. Yeah, you want suicide doors on either end? It is now.
4-way suicide doors.
Or it's like click them both off. That's how you take the door off. Fuck it. Doesn't matter.
Velcro it. Fuck it. Was it about when the GTI came out? They actually started making proper cars. The original Golf.
There were several iterations between the Beetle, the Ghia, the Thing, and then the Golf.
Okay. But the Golf was their first properly modern car.
that would have been 75, and the first GTIs were soon after, and those were first sold in the U.S. in 83, but you had larger rear-engine air-cooled cars, the 412, that were in there as well.
Wait, the Golf was in 75 originally?
I think that's about right.
I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah, because Volkswagen realized as soon as Honda came out with the predecessor to the Civic,
CBCC.
Yeah, it's like, well, how they landed on that name.
Just add a letter.
They needed to do something and in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
And that first gen lasted throughout the Western world for 10 years and lasted in South Africa way longer to become the City Golf, compounded with the name of my least favorite bank, this side of Wells Fargo. But that, much like the Bug, stayed in production in South Africa way later. That you could have a first-gen Rabbit, and the Rabbit name was U.S. exclusive for those first couple of years, and then it came back in the Mark V, and then was quickly kiboshed once again.
Yeah. Good name. I like that name. Better than the Hare. The Volkswagen Hare doesn't sound that great.
That sounds like the worst bug ever.
It's
a Volkswagen Tarantula.
It's caught in your drain. But then we mid-'80s, you started getting the Jetta? Or
79 was the first Jetta / Bora, which was Golf with a trunk.
Right.
It's like, given my disdain for sedans, well, that's stupid. Else they could have made a Golf wagon. Never mind, that took way longer.
I know you hate sedans, but if they made a manual TLX, that's a handsome-looking car. Have you seen one in person?
Yes.
That's a good-looking car. That would be incredibly on the want list.
I would make a few exceptions, but generally, it's stupid. Can I put a file cabinet in it? No. Fuck your car.
I got a full-size Mesa 412 in the back of the TSX, in the back seats. That's the half size. The 412, that's 212. And I got that in the back seats of the TSX. So you can do it. You can't do that in every sedan. Couldn't do it in the Maxima.
I fed a futon in the Vibe, so...
nice.
Where's your TSX now?
I fit a bunch of shit in the Jeeps. A treadmill.
Yeah.
A couch on top.
Let's face it. All right, engine plus box is the best design.
Yep, it is. I love that thing. I was thinking today when I was driving, I was like, it just has so much character. I'm a character person. That's why I like Vipers so much, too. They look cool, but they have character. To me...
That's way like me.
And the handsome.
Oh.
You had...
And grip myself.
So you had Jetta, and I guess at that time you started having Corrado.
No, Scirocco.
Scirocco.
Which effectively became the Corrado.
It was the same powertrain, right? It was just the body was different.
Same idea. The Corrado initially had the supercharger when it came out in 90. It was a supercharged 4, and all accounts say that was a horrible engine.
Yeah.
And then the VR6 came out in 92. Soon followed with that in the Jettas and the GTIs of the third generation.
And Passat was...
Passat also had that.
Well, when was that?
But I think Passat probably had that first.
Early 90s?
Yeah.
Okay. Passat was a good-looking car, though.
Yeah.
It was just like a stretched Jetta.
Yeah.
A more luxurious Jetta. Which is what
the bigger car, yeah. And during which Audi's doing its own thing. There's some cross-play in there, some higher end, never mind their, Toyota Prius scandal of unattended acceleration that happened 20 years before.
Moving forward, uncontrollably.
Vorsprung durch Technik.
The internet is undefeated. Much like Thomas sent me message. It says Elizabeth Warren treated Michael Bloomberg at this debate like Michael Bloomberg treated black people. And somebody already edited
For being a gentleman against socialism, he certainly got publicly owned.
at Wikipedia. It had Michael Bloomberg's death. It said February 19th, 2020. It says cause of death, Elizabeth Warren. That's good stuff.
Pretty sure in one of the cars I heard today that was playing Rush, I'm pretty sure he said Doomberg.
You know, it's
It's like
I don't trust.
my ass is still missing after having laughed it off at that one.
Back to Volkswagen, I guess.
Yeah, upon other fascist things.
Are we missing any from the 90s though? That's the only ones I can think of because the new Beetle came out 99.
Yeah, the 98.
Passat.
It was in the second Austin Powers movie.
Yeah. In the 90s,
What,
you had
like what in particular are you thinking of? Like, all right, the Quantum created the Passat, but no one cares.
Yeah, that's true. Because in the 80s, we already covered
And
the 80s.
you
And I
had
can't think of any others.
like Golf, Jetta, Bitch Basket,
Mm-hmm.
Cabriolet. Whoops.
Yeah.
Scirocco, and then the Transporter beget the Vanagon,
Mm-hmm. Which
and
didn't like that much.
it's you put a turbo Subaru engine in it, you have a more exciting death trap.
That is true.
And speaking of other expensive old Volkswagen vans, they're getting up there too.
Well, to be like it always.
How do I steal that one out of downtown Matthews?
It always looked to me the van wagon thing. It always looked like a shrunken, quirkier Dodge Ram van. This proportion, it looked exactly like that.
Yeah.
But the Dodge Ram van would be way cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Not as nice to be in, but don't think it really matters. If you're just transporting.
If you have a 40-year-old van, it is going to look like you're a Catholic scout leader.
Really?
It's just no. It's just not a good look. I say that as an Eagle Scout. It's like, I'm going to pull punches onto both of them.
Translated.
That said, like, dude, my troop was out of Methodist Church, and no, I wasn't.
Transported a lot of seamen, and not in the Navy. I'm out of beer. You out of beer?
Uh-huh.
One more while we finish up?
Uh-huh.
What do we want? It's my turn to get, so.
Something good.
I can do that.
Cool.
You want to split one?
Sure.
Oh, these old knees. We did the pastry dreams last time on the 52. So we're gonna sitting plush with a royal flush. Nice.
That sounds kind of perfect post your bunch of nonsense lately.
Yeah, it's true. Honestly, I would go back to Vegas twice a year. If I knew Emily wouldn't be super mad at me, I would go back twice. I just love it. I like to get away. It's cheap to go. It's not cheap if you just gamble all the time, but like,
even like looking up flights, like I looked into it, like this time around would have been way cheaper than when I went in July.
if you want to go, like I think I covered this back in September when I went, but after Labor Day, I went Wednesday through Friday, and my hotel and airfare was $320. That's the hotel and
that's
the
the everything. Like my airfare when I went in July was $555. That like I had to sell shit and a kidney on eBay to afford that dumb trip.
Well,
Just like to hang out with like, all right, 4 people I know, and like, let's face it, the rest of Ian's friends are assholes.
really
It is just one in particular that really stood out. Just pushy bitch face.
I almost ponied up the money for you and Toby to go because Toby's never been. I almost ponied it up just so you guys could go because it'd have been. I mean, we had fun. We still had fun, but I will say, like, Colin didn't do much of anything. Like, he played a little bit of craps, but he didn't do like he was just kind of chilling out for the weekend. So which is nothing wrong with that.
That's sort of style, though,
Yeah.
to remain pretty low key. Like even like when I've been to Myrtle with them repeatedly, it's always pretty subdued.
Yep, and there's nothing wrong with that. It was just like, whereas Matt,
congratulations, you're more relaxed than I am.
yeah.
That's more panicky than relaxed, though.
Well, Steve,
must go see do everything. Like I can't afford that shit. I want to go do everything. Crap. I feel very paradoxical. Damn you, Doc Brown.
Well, Steve, we're drinking a Captain Lawrence Brewing Company Sitting Plush
I don't see what my middle name has to do with any of this.
West Coast style Dippa, dry hopped with Cascade Zeus and Centennial hops. It is weighing in at 8.5% ABV. Settled down easy with a classic West Coast style double IPA limited release.
Ah, yes, that time when the West Coast conquered the East.
Elmsford, New York. Cheers. That's good.
That's fantastic.
Doesn't drink like an 8.5%er.
No.
That's really good.
That means I'm not waking up till March.
It's a little over a week. It's not bad. What's today?
20th.
20th? Fuck. I was in Vegas last week.
I had to get gas, so I had to write in the mileage like 022020.
Nice.
And mileage is not quite 269K.
Gotcha.
Nice.
After, what was the next new VW model? You went into New Beetle and then...
I was trying to think like before that. And no, Eurovan,
Eurovan.
that crashed and burned. Like, no one cared.
No. That was the one that looked like the Dodge Ram one.
That was,
That was
that's
the
more
one.
likely.
That was the
that
one,
had,
not the other one.
Yeah, the other one, like, there was no nose. The Eurovan had some nose.
Yeah, the Eurovan's the one that looks like the
pity
Ram.
for it's got to work on it.
Yeah. But then the 2000, when was the, what was the Volkswagen, the one that was supposed to be like had two letters in it?
The CC?
CC.
That was
Mid-alt.
2011.
No way.
That was the Passat, but for people that hate their backseat passengers. That was one of the originators of the four-door coupe.
That's fucking stupid.
I hope you can see this because I'm doing it as hard as I can.
Yep, there's
as
no
I have
such thing.
double middle fingers.
It's no such thing as a
at
four-door
this
coupe.
thing. Nah.
There's no
This is
such
a
thing.
sedan for Ichabod Crane.
Yep, it would be like, say, all right, so a four-door coupe would be like saying, oh, it's a quadriplegic who can use his hands. No, it can't fucking be both of those things. It just fucking can't. But you had
And then later this gets more ridiculous as what was it, the Porsche Taycan, whatever have you. It's a turbo.
No.
Find the turbo in your electric engine.
And the fan to cool it doesn't count. That bothers me too.
That's not how windmills work. If Futurama taught me anything.
I mean, it taught us a lot. It taught the toaster how to love. When was the Phaeton? That was mid-2000.
04.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you kept up with Everyday Driver?
Yes and no. I haven't seen any of the new stuff.
In the last couple months, they did some entertainingly dumb shit.
Oh yeah, they bought, but I haven't seen. I'm subscribed to their channel, but because one of them bought a Phaeton and the other one bought
a Maserati Quattroporte.
Quattroporte, yeah. So I haven't seen any updates, and they're probably broke from trying to keep them running,
or both cars caught fire. And the running gag on that show for the longest time was the cheap Phaetons,
yeah,
because you could have the 6, the 8, or the 12-cylinder one.
W12.
That's a lot to go wrong.
God, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I know from my brief experience with an 89 GTI 16-valve and a 98 VR666, the later one was way more finicky, so it was kept way shorter a time.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind, the elder car almost killed its new owner. Whoops.
At least it didn't kill its old one.
Yeah, successfully didn't crash it, so that's nice. Instead of enjoying my current 1.8 liter car.
Good. You have a theme going here.
Yeah, all my best cars have 1.8 liters. So that's why I have to get the Scion AM, not the Corolla AM, just to make sure it's still a dumb car. Like, none of this crash protection bullshit.
Well, the Corolla has the Corolla and the IM are the same car, aren't they?
Back then, yes. And now that's been replaced. So you have the Corolla and Corolla hatchback, and now the new Corolla sedan. Some of them have the hatchback snout that looks better than the standard Corolla snout that's atrocious because it looks like modern Toyota.
Yeah.
Whoever's designing this stuff, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stab your eyes out, else I will for you.
Do you think you could daily drive a right-hand drive Caldina wagon? Like
I like that car a lot.
That was cool.
Except for the most egregious error.
the transmission.
Yeah.
Driving a right-hand drive car daily would be a little bit weird because, like, drive-thrus at the fast food.
Well, maybe it's for better. I had to pee when I went to McDonald's earlier, so I stopped in. And then got snowed on. Got annoyed. Got my nuggets.
Yep.
They were nice.
Yes. I'm starting to get hungry. You?
More often than not. I did take my niacin earlier. That said, the local Dollar General was sold out the other day as I got my...
niacin?
Yeah. You don't have my drinking vitamin. How dare you?
That's pretty much all the... I can't think of a new Volkswagen.
Honestly, see, like, as time goes on, you've got the newer generations. You've got
the truck.
Dieselgate. That's not sold here.
What? No, they had a truck in the 70s, didn't they? I'm pretty sure they did.
There was the transporter truck. It was effectively the van that had the
back cut off.
Yeah, but then you could fold like all three sides of that down, which is an absolutely incredible concept.
Well, now you have...
Then you have to keep the hinges and where the panels meet the body greased. Otherwise, that's a lot of squeaking.
Well, now they have this Tiguan and like the...
Yeah, it's just a series of crossovers
that nobody cares about.
And the Rutan, that was the rebadged Town and Country, but because it's the Volkswagen, they couldn't put the Stone Ghost seating in it.
Yeah.
So they have dumb seating in the minivan. So in case you need to spend more money on your Town and Country, how we got a thing for you, which always made me crack up seeing that van out and about.
Yeah.
Like, no, let's take a Sawzall to it. They could have yourself a front drive caravan-based truck.
Horrible.
With a capital W.
I could have sworn that Volkswagen had a truck. Like,
overseas, they've got
like
the
in the
Tamarack. It's called the Tamarack, and it looks awesome. It looks like a beefier first-gen Element.
Go on.
No, Ridgeline.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. What? I like that. A 72 Volkswagen Type 3.
Oh, dear.
That's cool. And not cheap.
40 grand.
Yeah.
Holy fuck nuggets. Well, like I said, they got a lot of mileage out of the air-cooled platform, but the Beetle lasted the longest.
That it
Hell,
did.
back in the day, Collins X, during his stint in Virginia, had a 412.
Colin had a stint in Virginia.
He lived in Virginia post, like, at the time I moved to Raleigh, he moved to Lynchburg with our old roommate.
Weird.
And I immediately recognized this as a really stupid idea.
Why? Because you don't want to live in the communist wealth of Virginia?
No, it's got its bright spots. he moved to one of the dimmest spots.
Yeah.
They can't call it Newsburg.
Really. Emily and I are thinking about, now that we're pretty much done with Volkswagen because they haven't made anything cool the last 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah, the Corrado was
Awesome.
a very maybe thing. I almost bought one.
Aren't you
but-
glad you didn't?
Yeah, but that car had the Biff Tannen trick ignition to it, and I could not figure out the trick. Took it out for a spin, stopped at Harris Teeter to pick up something, and then realized I can't get this car to start. Luckily, I had my brick Nokia at the time. Like, call a dude, this thing won't start. I'm at this grocery store a mile from the apartment because the guy lived in my building. So he comes by, starts it up, gets it back home, and ultimately, I don't buy the car. He was fixing to replace this with a Mazda Protege 5.
Ah.
Almost immediately crashes said Mazda, so he has to keep the Corrado.
Was that 140 horsepower just too much?
I don't remember the circumstances surrounding it. It's just, all right, Tim was cool as hell to let me take this thing for a spin, but the fact I had the 89 GTI at the time, didn't hurt.
Somebody on... Are you on Opposite Talk?
On FaceBase? Yeah, that's like better Jalopnik.
Did you see the last generation Saab 9.5
Oh, that's a sexy bitch.
with wagon? They only made 30. That's how rare it is. Look how cool that is.
How big's that tailpipe?
Because you want to fuck it, don't you?
You said it, not me.
That is gorgeous. Oh, I didn't like the sedan. I like the sedan, okay.
But it was like, that
wagon-
was just a striking car.
The wagon looks so good. So they need to bring Saab back. Get that 6-speed. About
How about never? Is never good for you? 300 horsepower?
300 horsepower, 3-liter V6, turbo, 6-speed manual. All fucking day long, I would rock that. That would be what I would replace both of my cars for that, and I'd be happy with it. I think we're done with Volkswagen at this point because I can't think of anything else cool that. I mean, other than
the thing is, what's not cool is the entertaining part.
yeah,
By the mid '80s, Volkswagen built diesels,
true.
and as the early '90s crept up, they made turbo diesels. Well, by the mid 2000s, they realized they need to make better market share. So, there are Americans that are more eco-conscious that would hope that the diesels could make better power, but also be better for the environment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how Dieselgate started.
Yep.
That they figured out a means to make more power and more efficiency, but cranking out way more nitrous oxide fumes that were against EPA regulations, but apparently not against European regulations at the time, that skirted things for almost a decade until, ironically enough, West Virginia University caught what they were doing. That, a coal-producing state university did it.
The irony is strong, sir.
Actually drove a post-recall diesel today.
Oh.
I like that car.
Mm-hmm.
I like that car a lot. I've had my issues with the two Volkswagen that I owned, but to have this little thing that can get 50 miles to the gallon sure is rad. It was a one. This is the first stick shift that had valeting in months. So I was very entertained by this. Like, I asked the guy, like, how's this thing doing post recall? Like, it's still getting the same mileage.
Yeah.
It still, gets out of its own way. It was a Wolfsburg Golf 2016. No sunroof. Hell if I know it's leather or vinyl. Don't really care.
They need to do a Wolf Blitzers golf.
So then your car has a beard and it says dumb shit.
Yeah.
But has the coolest name ever. Someone's getting potted.
Every time. Thomas, I told you we were doing a podcast.
I don't necessarily care. I'm getting people tip ugly strippers.
What?
Have they considered being a Walmart greeter?
$1 bill at a time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you're on the podcast now, so.
Well, I'm going now, so go fuck yourself.
All right, I'll see you there. Thomas delivering pizza. I think the gist of what he was trying to say was that he can tell who are ugly strippers, because I think his last tips were in all $1 bills wadded up. Probably should wash your hands before you return to work after that. His parents made him promise. They still don't know where he works. Do you know that?
Between Food Dog and Papa John's?
Well, they know he works at Food Lion, but they think he's like in corporate doing something. They don't think he's one of the grunts in the stores, because
Well,
they
isn't he
would
a manager?
judge him. He's an assistant manager, but they would he know, like, he told me they would judge him for working retail, and like when they made him promise that that he would quit delivering pizza part time because that it's too dangerous, and you're better than that. Blah blah blah. I'm like, man, I'm glad I grew
Times
up
are
with.
tough.
They grew
My
up.
folks are thrilled stupid I'm getting out of print shop. Like, well,
yeah.
I'm going to drink this first.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this. His parents are both white collar, and they grew up in a time. They grew up like his parents, your parents, and my parents. They all grew up in a time where you could get a college degree for a reasonable price and better yourself. You can't fucking do that now, because when you get your good college degree, you're probably not going to get a job.
You can better yourself and go broke.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe we had the right idea to make a mediocre existence doing whatever the hell it is we're doing. That said, yeah, let's face it, there's no cross traffic between this and my work. Right? Let's hope.
I don't think so.
Well, Dad and I worked at the same company the last 14 years. He's thrilled stupid I'm getting out of it. Because he also knows how bad this is for the grunts in the mix.
Yep.
And how miserable I've been in the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Getting rehired, and print sucks.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody needs a stupid job on third, talk to me. Nope, super.
Yeah.
Because it's finicky equipment and terrible hours. The people there, they're nice.
Mm-hmm.
But just time to go.
Yep. And I look forward to the day I don't have to be in retail anymore, but I'm still looking for a job. But in the meantime, it's hard to walk away from a job I can do in my sleep, where my guys take care of me. We all work together. We don't have to work ourselves to death. We all know what we're supposed to do, when we're supposed to do it. We take care of each other. So until I can figure out everything, then I'll just stay put.
You've got a better version of hell than I've had.
That's true, because I really only answer to one person, and because she's putting out fires everywhere else, I can just do whatever I want all day.
If you're not the one starting the fires,
I'm not Billy Joel.
stay out of
Oh,
Australia.
I am Billy Joel, because I didn't start the fire. Nice. You want to do Mexican if they're open?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I had Tex-Mex for lunch, so is it? I don't even think it's rain or snowing anymore.
Well, it's dark.
It's hard to tell, but we can see into the neighbor's house.
It's dark.
That's true too. Well, Steve, we got to do an episode on location at some point. So, is the laptop? Is it one of those things where we just have to see if it plays nicely with
Sure,
the laptop?
that-
Okay, that's all.
Yeah, it's. I would have brought it today, but I knew the weather's too bad.
Okay.
It's-
Today's
it
an
starts at
anomaly.
walk. Yeah, today was bizarre.
Ryan did suggest that we video it and put the videos on YouTube too, but I think for the meantime, I don't think people. We're just now starting to get to the point where people want to listen to us. We got to get to the point where people actually want to see it. We got to get the multicam
I'm
going.
not prepared for that level of nose picking.
We got to have the multicam going, so I'll have in that corner and that corner. So it'll be one for you, one for me. So every time one of us talks, it goes. I'm thinking about getting the podcast mics though that clip onto the table and have the shock mounts, and you can just kind of adjust it, but they're not cheap. So it's not been high up on my list of priorities since these mic stands, work.
They're here. They work.
They're here and they work.
They're paid for. Yeah.
Well, Steve, I think it's time to eat some food. I'm glad you like the Baron Jaeger better than you like the regular Jaeger.
Uh-huh.
And we had
It's
a good.
funny because they're not related.
They're not related at all. So, what is Jaeger in German?
Hunter.
Huh? Hunter. Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, Steve, I think we're done.
Bear hunter instead of master hunter. So, folks, get the bear hunter instead of the hunt master because you enjoy your taste buds.
But not the bear fucker.
And hopefully,
Super Troopers.
ein Buttonficker. How's that beer feel coming out your face?
I mean, like it did last time, it came out my face. So, well, 54 will be. We got to have what 54 related shit can we do in 54?
Studio 54.
Studio 54.
Cocaine. I am a bit short.
I got to call my guy.
Okay.
All right. Well, for 53, I'm AJ.
I'm still Steve.
All right, Steve. We'll see you in March.
Good night, everybody.
Later.